is, you never know, can be sticking to the real side of boxing, the real fighters, and getting interested in that because they're getting exposed to this.
Right.
Wouldn't it be crazy to have like the next world champion be like, if it wasn't for Jake Paul and them fighting, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right. Imagine.
You never know.
Imagine in like 10 years we're talking to the dude and he's like, man, it's because of Jake Paul up here.
Yeah, exactly. So you never know the type of people that's tuning in, and the type of minds that it's kind of firing off.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'm on that side too, man. It's eyes that would have never been in box. When I went to Logan Paul versus KSI, I've never seen groups of like 10, 12-year-old girls at a boxing match.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I was like, wow, they're early. They're early, like you said.
Exactly. They were filled up, the seats were filled up, and they had to push back the time of the start because people are still trying to get in.
Right.
They want to see the show from beginning to end, and even after the fight was done, they were still there listening to the, making sure that they got every ounce of the money that they spent.
That's awesome.
For me, that's a plus, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a plus.
I agree.
Like, these ain't real fighters. I mean, I hear all that stuff.
Right.
But listen, they're bringing in new eyes.
Yep.
They're bringing new eyes. That benefits a lot of the fighters.
Yeah.
Because like you never know. Guys like that's actual fighter that came up from that side of the spectrum is being watched by now. People that probably wouldn't have tuned in because of these guys.
Exactly. 100% right. Yeah. Brian, man, I want to get your take. A big fight. Obviously, Gallo Estrada just won this weekend. It was a good fight. He was in a good scrap. And then we kind of got the announcement, seems like December 3rd for the trilogy. Chocolatito versus Gallo Estrada. You've been in the ring with both guys.
It's been a while. These guys are getting a lot older, and to see these guys still competing at the highest stage, it's a different world. And these guys are professionals, pro, and fighters fighter. Your favorite fighter's fighter. Mm-hmm. So for me, I just wish them the best of luck, and I love that they're still trying to usher in the lower weight classes, which at that time when I was fighting, it was really hard to garner that type of viewership. Yeah. But like I said, now that all these guys are bringing new eyes, you never know. You never know what type of acceptance they have. You can tell
Well, credit to you, man. You were part of that ascension of those guys too. Had these guys not fought you, maybe they wouldn't have been at the level they're at.
Yeah.
Being that you were in the ring with both of them, which guy's style was maybe the more difficult to get accustomed to?
I have to go with Chocolatito. His constant barrage of shots, and his ability to just be in range and not range just enough for him to counter you is just relentless. The way he's positioned, his ring generalship has been hard to deal with. So I had to give it to Chocolatito.
Man, a fight I just got to get your take on. Hopefully we get in mind. Hopefully boxing doesn't mess it up. It sounds like boxing might be messing it up though somehow. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. We still don't have an announcement. We've all kind of heard mid-November.
Yeah.
With those two guys, a lot of people tell me 50-50. Are you kind of on that road 50-50, or do you lean one way or the other?
I got a 50-50. Each guy has their strengths and kind of like the flaws. If I had to choose, I have to go with Terence Crawford. The way his ability to adjust mid-fight. I know Spence has that as well, but I think for me, Terence has just that grit, that comes with just the intelligence of learning how to dissect your opponent from round to round. But Spence has that power, that equalizer as well, and his left hand could pose a little trouble for Crawford, but if I had to choose, I'd go with Crawford.
You mentioned the left-handed thing. Obviously, Crawford switches.
Yes.
But if he switches left-handed, either way, he's dealing with the left-handed fighter, right? So I mean, it's
like I said, his ability to adjust is top-notch. He both ways. He can box. He can slug it out if he wants to. Like the fight against Jose Benavidez. It's the power as well. So if I had to choose somebody, I'll go with Crawford.
Do you believe Crawford will be switching throughout the fight, or
I think he's gonna have to find a way to get inside with him. I feel like he's gonna try to try to confuse Errol Spence a little bit with his switch style, long range. But I believe that his combination is gonna try to, it's gonna break him down a little bit in this fight.
Last one I want to get your take on, man. Canelo versus Triple G, the trilogy happening in a couple weeks here.
Yeah.
Triple G's 40 years old.
Yeah, he's on the tail end of his, I believe he's in the twilight of his career.
Right. And Canelo is coming off a loss as well against a bigger guy, but, I mean, it was kind of a way of beating Canelo, you know what I mean, that we hadn't seen before. Floyd didn't look like that, you know what I mean?
And Canelo, for me, I feel like is still in his prime. He's still on the top of his game, even though he lost against a bigger opponent in Bivol, but Triple G, I don't think he's going to get. I think Canelo is going to give him a little hard time. Be a little bit more decisive in his swing against Triple G. So, like I said, Triple G is in the tail end of his career, but you never know.
I just realized where I'm at, and so I have to ask you about Zurdo versus Bivol. I realized Zurdo was leaving as I was coming in.
Yeah.
Man, Zurdo is finally getting the shot, the title shot that he's been wanting.
Yeah.
They've sparred before, which, adds. So does that give you confidence going into a real fight with someone being that if you sparred with them prior in your career?
Like him sparring with Bivol?
Him having sparred with Bivol back in the day. Is that like a confidence booster for him?
You can't really read too much into it. You never really show your best foot in sparring. Sometimes you work on things that you're trying to work on. And so it gives you a false sense of identity and trying to figure your opponent out. I say that because I used to spar with Segura for years, and he helped me get prepared for a lot of my fights. And I'll give it to him. Yeah, some days he got the better of me, but like I said, I was working on things that I needed to work on in preparation for my fights. So I wasn't putting my best foot forward, and so he felt like he kind of had the edge over me because of those sparring sessions, but it gave him a false sense of, you know what I mean? And then, we all know what happened when I fought him, so you can't really never read into, you get a sense of what he is, your speed, the power and all that, but it's never your best foot. It's never going to be like your final form, you know what I mean?
Right.
Going into the fight, so you can't really read too much into it.
But Zurdo's feeling confident. I'm sure he's a very confident guy.
He's super confident. He's always been confident. He's that type of guy. He's that animal. He loves to fight.
Yeah.
And, this is a fight that he's been looking for a long time. And so now that he has it, I don't think he's going to try to squander this.
Right, for sure. Brian, thank you so much for your time, brother. Tell the fans where they can follow you, man.
Follow me on Instagram, Viloria Boxing, and Twitter is Brian Viloria.
I appreciate it. The Hawaiian Punch, one of the better nicknames ever.